What's up, everybody? Excited to be here today doing a topic discussion about dropshipping. So now, for those of you who are interested in these kind of recorded calls, you can pick between three formats. One is an interview where I ask you a lot of questions. One is a Q&A where you ask me a lot of questions. And the other is just kind of a discussion. I need to know the format so that I can gauge how things are going and make sure that you're talking if you want to be, that kind of thing. But if you want to, check out in the description. You can schedule one of these calls with me. So today we are here with Amina, and this is the first female who's doing one of these, which is awesome because I'm always happy to see more female dropshippers.
Hello.
How you doing today?
Good. So my name is Amina, and I am a teacher. I've been a teacher for a few years, and you know, anybody who works in the States knows that's a little bit of a struggle. So I'm trying to find another way to make money, and drop shipping came about. A friend suggested it, wasn't doing it himself, but suggested it, and I thought, okay, if I grab the reins on this, it'll probably fail, but I'll try anyway. So I just started drop shipping. Officially, my business account started last Thursday, and I made my first sale today. I'm really excited about it, except for I kind of flunked this one because I lost $1.
You made the sale happen, though.
I made the sale, though. That, to me, when I see it on my seller hub that I made some money, makes me happy enough. So I'm cool with it. I also got my sister in it too. So she made her sale actually before me. But she lost $3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it balances out then.
Yeah. So I feel like I'm the winner, even though I still haven't won enough yet. But I am using some of the things that I'm using were suggested by you on your videos. I'm using Hydra Lister. I'm subscribed to that. I'm using Top Cash back when I, made my purchase. So hopefully that 7% will come back to me later, which is good. And what else? I'm using mostly Walmart, but I'm also using Target and Wayfair.
So you have to be a little bit careful with Target. They are known to, like, if you place some orders with them, it's probably going to be fine. But they're one of the sources that if you place a lot of orders with, then they don't really like dropshippers too much. Just something to keep in mind.
I did notice that when I tried to do like a sample purchase, they charge if it's they don't ship unless it's $25. And
they don't offer free shipping, or what do you mean?
They don't offer to ship.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And I had started off like categorizing my things. So I started with makeup, and those things run for a few bucks. Mm-hmm. So when I saw that they didn't ship something that was what I sold for 15, that didn't benefit me at all. So I'm being very choosy with Target, but Walmart definitely is my major source or supplier. eBay was really good about raising because I was only allowed to start with 10. They raised it to 100 and then 140 with a $7,000 limit, which is a lot for a week of me talking to them.
Yeah, that's good. That's a starting point.
Because you did say 30 days. But I want to try to make it more, and I know they're
You can do it every 2 weeks. That's when, like, if you want to be perfect about growing your account, you call every 15 days, no matter what they tell you, and you ask for an increase, and just as a formality, just do that.
Okay. Also, I wanted to see if it's possible, or like eBay might catch that I'll use a different email, but my same actual physical home address.
Oh, you mean because your sister's doing it as well?
Yeah, she's doing it somewhere else, but I want to open another account so I get maybe 100 more.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that. It's not just about your address though. It's also first off, that's a completely viable strategy. A lot of people will get loads of different accounts because you can effectively work around account limits that way. The trouble is you need to use some kind of software to hide your kind of digital footprint, because even if you use a different address, if the IP addresses are the same, then your accounts get linked, and you don't know that they're linked until something goes wrong, and then instead of the one account that made the thing going down, all the linked accounts go down. So yeah, there's more to it than that. If you want to learn about like the more efficient ways to manage multiple accounts, normally you have a service like multi-login app, which is a piece of software on your computer, and you can pretty much you open it, and then you can pick like, oh, I'm going to be Roald Dahl today, and then it logs in with the Roald Dahl information. Like that's where the IP address for that person. It separates everything for you. So if you're using a lot of accounts, you probably want to use a tool like that. But
okay, so that will eBay have a problem? I don't want them to suspend my account.
So you can have multiple accounts. The second it becomes a problem in eBay's eyes is when you are posting the same items to those multiple accounts.
Okay.
As far as they're concerned, that is like, that's misusing. But it's perfectly okay to have multiple accounts, and you can, in that case, they're going to be linked accounts. So just understand that if you're making linked accounts and something happens to one of them, then the other ones can go down as well. Just keep that in mind.
So if I have linked accounts, will the selling limit be the same for both, or it could be different?
It can be different. You can actually, if you have one big account, you can actually get selling limit increases on smaller accounts because you have that bigger account.
Okay. All right. I also want to ask about social media. So there was a little thing we started doing, and I was looking at some videos, and somebody has suggested you tweet your posting, and you hashtag it, and you get some more views, and that to bring some attention to your page. My sister had done that, and she posted her whole account, like her usernames, like check out my store. Not even an hour or two later, her account was suspended and multiple listings were removed.
Really?
It turned out somebody tried to hack into her account.
Oh.
Yeah. So I don't know if you have any experience with like I've never had an eBay account, so I have no stars right now until this first shipment gets there. Do you have any suggestions?
Yeah. So one, don't worry too much about feedback. Just focus on using the account. People think that feedback matters way, way more than it actually does. That being said, do your best to give a solid experience. Just make sure you're communicating, and the feedback will come with time. One thing that will help a little bit is if you because you live in the United States, so you have the ability to buy, like you were going to buy things anyway. So instead of buying them from some other place, you can buy them from eBay, because every time you purchase an item on this account, it's going to increase that number next to your name. So if there's things that you could just get on eBay instead of wherever you already get them, then that would probably be a good habit to kind of switch it, just so that you have 10, 20 next to your name instead of 0. But yeah, that number is both buying and selling. So if you see an account that has 10,000 next to it, they may have never sold a single thing, or they may have never bought a single thing, vice versa.
It's a good excuse to go shopping now. So there's that. And then social media, do you think it's a good suggestion?
So with drop shipping, one of the reasons people use eBay is because eBay gives you traffic. That's why eBay charges so much. That's why they're able to charge 10% of the sale. Whereas if you're using a platform like Shopify or something else, you lose less to the platform, right? So what you're talking about using social media is more of a thing when you're using a platform like Shopify and you have to bring traffic to your listings. You can do that with eBay. It's definitely doable. The thing is, you have to understand that most people who purchase drop-shipped goods are not your typical consumer, because they're not as price conscious as most consumers are. Because, I mean, in general, if you're drop shipping something, it's available somewhere else cheaper. At least the form of drop shipping this is, right? So theoretically that would work if you would be able to target specifically the kind of people who will browse an eBay store and just buy stuff because they like buying stuff. And in this game, there's tons of things that you can put in your favor or can be against you. there's never like one thing that just makes the difference. It's all about learning what all the different possible things you can do are, and then just doing as many of them that are relevant to you. So if that is something that your sister enjoys doing, then by all means, like,
try it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right. Okay. Another thing. So you said you haven't met or interviewed a lot of female drop shippers.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's anything, there's a difference, but I haven't met any physical drop shippers. Is that something I should seek?
Yeah,
as
definitely.
far as is there a social platform for that?
You don't have to, one second, I have to let someone in the house real quick.
Sure thing.
It's all good. So yeah, you don't have to meet anybody in person necessarily, but it is really important that you are building some kind of network, like you're communicating with other drop shippers, because those connections is kind of what educates you. So there's a lot of dropshipping groups on Facebook. That's a good way to meet people. You can just search dropshipping, and then there's a couple like major groups depending on your geography. So you can post in the groups. I would encourage you to use the groups to identify individuals who you have conversations with. Don't expect that you can just post something in a group and then that alone is going to get attention, if that makes sense.
Yes. I'm sorry, I cut off a little bit there. Yes. Be part of the group. Now, I'm worried about that a little bit because between me and my sister right now, it's a little bit competitive. We're both new to it, so we're kind of excited. Who's going to get more sales? What are you selling? Oh, don't sell that. I already posted that. And we are still doing bulk listing, but we're also picking categories. So more on the competitive side. Is it a competitive market? Should I be worried about somebody trying to get to my account or trying to take my listings?
It depends. So dropshipping definitely is competitive, and most profitable drop shippers use some system to identify products that other people are already selling and then base their posting decisions off of that.
Do they post the same thing or things that
there's software that literally, like, the second your item sells, other people are going to steal it. It's inevitable. Absolutely inevitable.
Oh, okay. That's intimidating a little bit.
Yeah, and honestly, that's so there's a process called sniping, which is how a lot of people get their items to pick. And what sniping software does is you start off with a seller's name, so their store name, which is why most people are protective of their store names. And then the sniper literally just makes a list of everything that they've sold before, and then in some of them you can literally just like duplicate them, and they're in your store. There's one thing though about bulk. It's really important that you don't think. The way that I dropship is very much because I'm a YouTuber, and it's more to create interesting things, and I monetize it because I have a course in the YouTube channel. You can't just bulk dropship and expect it to be profitable. I just want to make sure that's really clear. If you want to earn money dropshipping, you have to use optimization and some kind of product research tool to identify what things to post, whether you're doing sniping and you're like finding things that other people are selling, or you're just doing like product research using some kind of tool that looks at data from eBay.
Okay, I was just totally bulking there. So it's nice to know. I'm kind of categorizing it based on what's popular, what's trending. Mm-hmm. With kids, it's LOL surprise. And then, perfumes and things that I think people are interested in. Do categories matter then? They do.
Yeah, categories. It's more about what categories to avoid and be careful with than it is about like what specific categories are good. And that's also true with items. It's not so much about what items are good as it is about what items are bad and what ones you should avoid. And so if you're bulking at the beginning at the size of the store you are, one thing I would encourage you to do is view bulk posting as a utility tool. You are posting things and then look at the things that get attention and then optimize those things and think about the things that get attention. And just, it's really important that you understand that you have to make optimized listings in order to be profitable. You can't just post items alone. That alone isn't enough. Like, the way that I do things is specifically because of the YouTube channel. It's because I don't need to earn money from the store, because I have earned so much in like life changes from these videos and the connections I've made and that kind of thing.
Okay. All right. So, okay. I think right now with the way I'm doing it is I'm bulk listing. I look at them, I go through it. I had to change my quantity too, because eBay looks at the quantity of items. Mm-hmm. As far as restocking, SKU grid is really hard to manage for me.
That makes sense, especially because SKU grid just. So, do you know much about SKU grid? Like, what's your understanding?
I thought that SKU grid is supposed to restock or put in or kind of refresh your eBay. Yeah. But because eBay and SKU grid right now are having an issue, from my understanding, that nothing is happening. My keys cannot even be uploaded. And I've looked at it multiple times, and they have something that they need to sort between them two. Mm-hmm. Right? Is that right?
Yeah. So SKU grid is not considered a valid application by eBay anymore.
Oh. Okay.
So what that means is that SKU grid can't interact with the eBay API. You can still use SKU grid to reprice through a part of eBay called file exchange. But to be honest, like, I know that there's a lot of content that I've done with Hydra Lister and SKU grid, but a lot of that is pretty old at this point. And the reality is that Hydra and SKU grid split up. SKU grid has problems with eBay and is no longer, like, it is automatic, but there's like a workaround for it.
I have no problem not using SKU grid. That is not something that.
I just feel bad because you said that you've gotten Hydra Listers. That's like $70 or $80, and honestly, I wouldn't recommend getting Hydra Lister at the moment. Not as a new user, because SKU grid and Hydra Lister split up because of like some internal stuff. I can't really share too much about that because it's not my place. There were like disagreements, right? And then the creator of Hydra Lister is doing a new tool called Viking. So the chance of Hydra Lister remaining viable in the long run is probably a bit unlikely. It seems likely that it will become depreciated software over time, just because the split happens. SKU grid has their own lister they're trying to push, and the owner of Hydra Lister is behind this new dropshipping software that's more modern, and is kind of like an all-in-one solution like the other options.
Okay. So is Viking something you suggest?
I know the person behind Viking, and he's one of my favorite dropshipping software people, because he's actually he has integrity. Whereas a lot of them don't have integrity, and they're just in it for money. That being said, there's lots of different options available, and honestly, there's tons of different all-in-one suites now. Just off the top of my head, so Viking is about to launch in days, so that's one, right? Then there is DSM Tool, which is one of the ones I'm affiliated with. I'll share the ones I'm affiliated with, and then the ones that I haven't gotten around to becoming affiliated with. So DSM Tool, AutoDS, these are the ones I've done videos about recently. And then there's also 4 or 5 other tools. There's a document somewhere I can send a link to you, and it has 10 or 20 different tools that are available.
Okay. All right, categories. I guess I must have seen your older videos too, because I started using tool, and I was bulking, so I was using a little bit of Sublime. And
if you can get used to that,
Yeah, I even played with some macros for the first time, and I don't mean to sound like a girl, but this is all new news to me. I'm not very good with computers. I'm not on the internet very much, but
if you can even conceptualize what a macro is, you are leagues ahead of a lot of people.
Yeah, and I'm like, when I saw that it was also available on Excel and they have macros, I was so excited. I don't know, it's just because it's new stuff for me. I love learning. I was going to go back to school for nursing. That was my initial plan, to make more money, but I would have to spend so much money in order to attend school.
Yeah, it's a good time to get into e-commerce. It sounds like you got the right mindset. You got motivation. You have a brain on you, so you'll be fine.
Thanks. A little bit of help, like during the discouragement, kind of waiting for those sales. What do you suggest? Like, I'm trying to stay motivated. I feel like I have the right items. I edited the pictures so that it looks good. I compared other people's listings to it. But I feel like it's just, I'm waiting all the time. I'm refreshing my eBay selling page all the time.
So this is where a lot of dropshippers won't agree with me on this. But I don't think that it's good to have just drop shipping. Like, not just because drop shipping isn't super reliable, but it's very hard to spend all day drop shipping. And I don't know how to articulate this.
A lot of it is waste.
Yeah. It's more about the fact that you are engaging with some kind of drop shipping related thing in your life on a regular basis, like daily. And a year or two from now, then you can like really run a profitable dropshipping business. It's more about educating yourself and exposing yourself to all of the individuals who dropship and some of the YouTube channels and the people who share information. Like, you have to convince that part of yourself that doubts that this is possible. You pretty much have to eliminate that. And that's the first major step. It doesn't really have anything to do with how much money you earn from sales or how many sales you get. It's about, like, because when anybody starts into this kind of industry, they're always like, oh, I want to earn money, but I don't know if it's possible to earn money from home. I don't know if I can do it. And that's really important that you identify that if you are still in the point where you're wondering if you can do it, you need to educate yourself more and expose yourself more so that you know without a doubt it is absolutely doable. It's not a matter of if you can. It's a matter of if you will or if you won't.
Right. And then, even with me losing money on the first sale, I was still very content that I made one. And I'm like, okay, well, then I just, adjust my prices and I know that it will keep selling. So definitely keeping that positive attitude. So yeah, other than that, my sister just asked me, because like I said, I teach. And the reason why I'm doing this right now is because it's summertime and we're on vacation and I have a month or two to play with where I can expose myself to everything, drop shipping, and then go back to work and kind of just let it see, what else I can gain from that. Yeah. She currently is, she's a mom at home. She's an at-home mom, and she's kind of like, okay, well, you know what? Finally, there's a way that us moms can stick together and find a way to make money without leaving our kids and having to worry about it, babysitter or anything like that. So she just wants to know how to be a millionaire. But like I said, for her to just stick through it and see how it goes. And
so for reference,
right.
If you're getting into dropshipping and you get into it, but you're not like super exceptional, you can realistically earn between $1,000 and $2,000 a month if you aren't really seriously into it. If you get really, really serious into it, legit business, you scale it properly, you can earn $5,000 to $10,000 a month. Just so you have some kind of reference of what income dropshipping can look like.
Right. And the rate just depends on what you're selling or how you're optimizing. Because
it depends on a lot of factors.
Right. So to say like you can make $5,000 to $10,000, that to me is such a big gap. I want to know. I want to be on that 10,000 end of it. So what do I need to like I said, I haven't tried to invest too much of my own money in it because I want to see how far I can go without doing that. And like Hydra Lister is something I just acquired, but I've had it as a trial version for the
Gotcha.
first time. Same thing with SKUGrid. I never purchased it. I just have the trial. I don't want to take a drop shipping. I know you offer it too, but I don't want to have to take a drop shipping course if I have all these.
You don't need to.
Yeah, I feel like I have all these free, reliable resources online. And like just having this interview with me, you've taught me already so much.
You don't need to get courses. It's all the information's there. It's just it's either free and inconvenient or paid and convenient.
Okay, so a little like I'm wondering when, because I'm so limited on my list, and they only gave me 140 and 7,000. How do you know when to end a listing and replace it with something else?
So it depends what you're going for. If you're going for profitability alone, then you have to determine a end date for your listing that's either after 30 days, 60 days, or 90 days. However, in the beginning when you're learning and you can only post a couple hundred items, it can actually be quite a good practice to just delete the ones that are performing worse compared to the others, even if it's only been a week or two. Because the reality is right now it's not about the profit, it's about how much experience you get and how much you learn and how adept you become at understanding these concepts, right?
Yeah. I kind of just, I've been looking at the views and I'm trying to give it time, but like I said, it's like a lot of me waiting for something to happen.
Yeah. Gotta find some way to use up that energy.
Yeah, for sure. So I am doing a lot of that product research, what's popular, what's trending, especially for us girls. Like the first thing my head goes to is perfume and makeup and a little bit of the clothing. I am thinking about selling my own things. I have a lot of clothes that I've thrifted, throughout the year.
Oh, this is perfect actually, because I've learned about something. Do you know anything about Poshmark?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, so I encourage you to look into that for selling your stuff. It's new, so there's not anywhere near as much competition on eBay. And I know some people who are earning like really good money at the moment from it.
So my sister, and like I haven't used Poshmark, but she used it, and like she has quite the closet, and she sold 6 items on Poshmark of her own things. But what she didn't like about it and appeals to her about eBay is Poshmark only gives you Poshmark money. It's a store credit system. That's what she told me.
So the person who I know I would be very surprised if that's the case and there's not some workaround.
Okay.
Because I'm part of this eBay mastermind group, and the guy who hosts it sells on Poshmark. And he doesn't seem like the kind of person who would just spend a lot of money on Poshmark.
Right.
I don't get that impression. So maybe he's like buying stuff and selling it on eBay to like, I don't know. I don't think that that's happening though. I'm pretty sure that there is some workaround for the cash thing. Okay.
Yeah, because it says, I'm reading it now. Yeah, it says it only, lets you shop. But I can look into that further. And then another thing is, I know there's an auction option on eBay. She doesn't like that there's a lot of haggling on Poshmark.
Yeah.
So she'll have it posted for $20, but they'll be like, nope, I want it for 10. I want it for 5. And she's like, okay. And she sold some items like below what she wanted to. So she made a little bit of profit because it's thrifted clothing, but it's not what she was looking to do. So that's what kind of appealed her to eBay. If I wanted to sell those clothing items and with my same drop shipping account, do you suggest it? Do you think that's
Absolutely.
beneficial?
I think that's ideally you sell physical items and you drop ship. eBay considers you more legit if you also have physical items. I've always been able to just tell eBay I drop ship. One of the reasons I'm able to do that is because when I started, I was a physical seller. So I got really used to all of that and got confident. Because really, when you're communicating with eBay, it's all about sounding confident. You can drop ship. Just understand that sometimes some reps are going to be hesitant about that. You're going to hear like you're a drop shipper. Like,
Yeah, I heard that already. I definitely
you gotta make sure that you sound confident and that you have a plan. Really, it's more about having a plan. The reps will usually work with you in that case.
I definitely, not that I'm being completely honest with them, but I definitely tell them that I've been selling on other platforms and I've done very well, and that I really need to increase on my selling limit, and that, that worked in my favor.
But you get the increase.
Right. I just, whatever I can to make this profitable way to make money. Because, I do want to make time to go back to school, but I need to know that I'll be okay. And, my family will be okay and things like that. So that's also like a little suggestion if people were interested. Telling them that you sold on other platforms, and then a lot of compliments. I gave eBay a lot of compliments. I'm like, oh, you guys are great. Customer service is wonderful. And they totally ate it up. So that's good.
Yeah, that's awesome. It sounds like you're, more comfortable than a lot of other people talking on the phone. Because one, you speak good English. That gives you a big advantage. A lot of the people I communicate with, like, they have so much trouble with the eBay part because they don't have good English skills. So, like, trying to read a vibe in a foreign language is really tricky.
Yeah, I know. I've seen some of your interviews, and a lot of the encouragement was from an interview you had with a 16-year-old Moroccan boy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's so hard I just want him to say it in, like, I speak Arabic too. So I'm like, just say it in Arabic already. Let me hear it. But it was definitely encouraging to see that. Other than that, the same address, different emails. Can I use my same, name? Can I say here, I'm Amina?
Yeah, you can have as many eBay accounts as you want, as long as you're okay with them being linked. Then you can use your same name. That's fine. Just understand that if eBay sees that you're posting the same items to those accounts, then they could have problems. However, also understand that there isn't really an effective system currently in place for them to identify that that's happening. So you would have to scale up a lot and be abusing it really for it to be an issue. It's more likely that, like, you get into some kind of billing issue, or you have to do some kind of verification, and then that temporarily suspends your account, and then the other account gets suspended until you fix that. The reality is it's unlikely that you have any major problem because your accounts are linked.
Yeah. You did say a multi-login application. Did you have any suggestions?
Yeah, so multi-login app is if you want to have lots of different accounts that aren't linked to each other. And if you're going to do that, then you need to learn about growing stealth accounts, because you have to basically make these different aliases that aren't real people but have, like, IP addresses and then their email address and their phone number and all that kind of stuff. So it's tricky, but it's very much like the international dropshippers overseas, like people in Morocco, Israel, all that. That's how they guarantee security, is that they have a bunch of these different accounts, and when one account gets banned, they just, they have 20, so it's okay.
Yeah, I kind of have a play on words, but I'm not totally great with the dishonesty part of it. So I even didn't really want to give my address or my personal information, but they had all these security questions. Should I be hesitant with giving eBay any personal information? I feel like it
depends on what you're trying to do, really. Like, from my end, no, not at all. Like, you should just give all the information.
Right.
And you can also, like, this is your account, your one eBay account. You can have these other stealth accounts that are another, like, it doesn't matter. It's separate. So, like, them knowing that this is your account doesn't affect any of the other accounts if you do want to do those, like, separate, more stealthy accounts. So I wouldn't worry about it. Whenever I call eBay, as far as I'm concerned, they're on my side. They're trying to earn money. They earn money when I earn money. So if I have a problem, I call them and I ask them for their opinion, and then that's just, yeah.
All right. Other than that, I already just shipped my first sale, so I'm happy that that's already over with. A little bit issue, and I did message them. I haven't gotten a message back. In my picture, there is a picture of a blue lamp, but all the other pictures are bronze lamp. Now, when they purchased it, the blue was the main image. And so I had to message them that bronze was the actual only available color when I went back to Walmart. And I didn't know that when I, had initially listed the item. Should I be worried about negative feedback, or just see what happens?
I mean, you're going to get a negative feedback, and it's going to suck at some point because you don't have that many other feedbacks, but it's going to happen. It's absolutely going to happen.
I just think so early in the selling that it won't look good to eBay, and I'm so concerned about what eBay thinks and what they'll do or what they won't allow me to.
So, if you physically sell stuff as well, you really can alleviate a lot of those concerns. If you are physically selling stuff as well as drop shipping, eBay will take you much more seriously, because you can just say that they like physical sellers more than drop shippers. So even if 99% of your stuff is drop shipped, like there were a lot of times that I got through the bad drop shipping vibe because I sell Game Boys and people like Game Boys, and they were like, "Oh, cool, okay."
Okay, all right, right on. Okay. Other than that, I do want like other ideas for wholesalers. But I think I've seen enough of your videos, and I'm very, very keyed into what I should be doing. It's just also what's popular now. How do I use Twitter to see what's trending. So I'm kind of just dabbling a little bit.
Yeah, just follow what you enjoy.
Yeah. Do you see a difference drop shipping from Nicaragua?
What do you mean a difference?
Like, are you still using your home address in the States?
Oh, so I'm back in the States now. But when I was in Nicaragua, I didn't even have to use a VPN, which was really surprising to me. I had not a single problem from being in Nicaragua.
Oh, nice. Okay.
But that's because I started in the States, which makes it easier.
Right. Okay. All right. Other than that, I think that's it.
Awesome. So
I have notes.
There are two things that I want to kind of share with you as an advice for somebody who's getting into this. So one is related to that situation you just talked about with the item being the main color is different in the main photo. So that kind of stuff is going to happen a lot. What you should do is set up what I refer to as an order replacement prompt. So this is one message that you can use in a huge variety of different situations. When the color's different, when the item's out of stock, when it's priced wrong, when it's glitched and you try and add it to your cart and the website just errors. Like, there's tons of these weird technical things that prevent you from being able to order an item, even though it looks like you should be able to.
Right.
So I'll send you just remind me after this, and I'll send you this in text form. But the prompts sound something like this. It'll be like, "Hello, I've made a mistake with this listing, and I'm unable to send this particular item out as advertised. I would like to offer you any other item in my store for like $5 or $10 more than what they paid for as a replacement. If you would prefer, I could also issue you a full refund instead." So you always want to... One, you don't want to supply too much information. You don't want to openly admit that you're out of stock, but admit that you made a mistake. Make sure that you're taking the blame away from the buyer. Yeah. And also, this makes it look good to eBay because eBay sees everything. All messages, they're omniscient, basically, about what happens on their platform. So when an eBay rep looks at this prompt, if they're a hardcore rep, they're going to consider it out of stock. But most reps see that you're trying to work with the buyer. You are offering them a discount on any other item as a replacement, and that is usually something that is favored. It also means that from the buyer's end, they're going to be more receptive because it seems like you're trying to work with them. The reality is they're always going to ask for a refund. Like, maybe 5% of the time, they will actually look at your store and find another item. The reality is they are almost always going to ask for a refund. And this is the other point that I want to make sure you understand, is to never, ever cancel because you're out of stock.
Okay.
Don't ever do that. It's hard because that's going to happen sometimes. It's better for your account to do absolutely nothing and wait for an item not received case to open and then refund them than it is to admit that you're out of stock. So just make sure you never admit that you're out of stock, and make sure that you never let a case get escalated without you responding to it. So once a case is open, you have like 5 or 7 days before eBay will take care of it, basically, if you haven't yet. Don't ever let that happen.
Okay.
If you avoid those two things, you're not going to have any trouble with your eBay account.
Okay. All right. I'm just trying to keep eBay happy too, because, you know, I don't want them to get upset with us drop shippers if they're not too fond of us.
Yeah. And then one last parting thing is focus on getting into virtual assistants as soon as you possibly can. You can treat what you're doing now as you educating yourself to the system that you will teach the virtual assistant. You have to include that in your headspace, because having a team of virtual assistants, or even just one, is absolutely critical nowadays. It was different like 3 or 4 years ago. Now there's so much software. In order to be competitive, you need somebody who's posting items for you so that you can kind of take a step back and kind of do better on the customer service part, maintain a bigger picture of your business. You have to incorporate virtual assistants if you want to be profitable.
Okay. Do virtual assistants look into what's like our listings, or the popularity, or the views and things like that?
They can do anything. Like,
whatever we tell.
My VA does half of my stuff. So I process orders and post items. He responds to messages and deals with return cases. But you could pay a VA to just give you a list of items that you then post. You could pay a VA to find the items and post them. Really what you should do is make a list yourself using some software or whatever, and then pay a VA to just go through and post them. You want to outsource the more kind of tedious, repetitive tasks that are easy to teach to somebody else.
Okay. I am a teacher, so that works out.
Yeah.
Okay. The best software to get a VA?
And you know Arabic. Like, holy crap.
Yeah, I know.
All the Moroccans will love you.
Yeah. So I'm going to try it out. I'll see how it goes.
Oh, yeah. Software to get a VA? So that's kind of tricky, because there's platforms you can use like Upwork to get a virtual assistant, but you don't want to continuously use a platform, because then instead of paying the VA more, you're paying the platform. And a lot of people have a high turnaround rate with their VAs, so they just kind of get a VA, do a task, move on to the next one. That gets you experience, but in my opinion, it's better to find somebody you can develop a relationship with and have some kind of attachment to, who you trust. I just think it's better that way, to have like a direct relationship with an individual through PayPal, because then you pay less, they get more. You don't have to pay like 10% of what they're getting to the platform. So it's more about just making that initial connection with the VA. And that's something that people are free to use this channel for, especially because you know Arabic. Like, if you are comfortable sharing your contact information, people will reach out to you interested in doing virtual assistant stuff, especially because you know Arabic, and a good portion of the people who watch these videos are from Morocco.
Okay, yeah, I would love to do that. Definitely leave my contact information, because finding a VA, even for me, would be a whole different task. So if somebody wants to reach out, that would be great. And yeah, that's all.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, sorry to blabber on at the end there.
I don't know. Thank you so much for your help. It really is a good start. And I think right now for dropshippers, it's a great time to get started, because you have all these resources now.
Yeah.
Yeah, without breaking the bank.
All right, it was great to chat with you.
All right, thanks.
Ciao.